Hello. Welcome to Nerdy Folks Podcast, where conversations about nerdy things inspire greater faith in Jesus. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson, coming at you live from my sun porch. So exciting to be here, talking about nerdy stuff. San Diego Comic-Con just wrapped up. That's like the mecca of nerddom. So this episode is going to be all about San Diego Comic-Con and just hitting the high points. I'm going to try my best not to go off into the weeds and do too much commentary, talking about things, because there's so much that could be unpacked. Marvel, of course, made a big splash at the comic convention. They talked about upcoming projects such as Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War, which is a little farther out. They also announced some, smaller scale stories like Black Panther 3 and Ghost Rider. So that's pretty cool. Be curious to see how those fit into the larger MCU. And I'll be curious to see how those fit in, especially given the fact that Secret War, which is the follow-up to Doomsday, Secret War is going to be a soft reboot for the Marvel Universe. It's going to simplify the timeline. The X-Men aren't going to be over in a different universe anymore. They're bringing it all together. I'll be curious to see how Black Panther 3 and Ghost Rider fit into that whole thing. Something I'm excited about, and I've mentioned, is the sequel to Spaceballs. Spaceballs, the new one, is coming out next year, and Rick Moranis from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and lots of other stuff has actually come out of retirement to do this movie, and he was at the convention wearing the huge oversized Lord Helmet hat or helmet. So apparently it was a huge highlight. People are pretty stoked. I think a lot of you will agree with me when I say that I think a good parody is actually a way of showing appreciation and love for something. You love the original, and it's fun to poke fun at it. So hopefully that's the spirit of Spaceballs, the new one. DC Studios announced that they're doing a Lanterns show on HBO. New footage was released for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. They say that Season 3 is going to get to the, quote, good stuff. And I think what they mean by that is it's introducing elements that were also present in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, such as the Nazgul, and they've got Sauron wearing his spiky helmet. The actual One Ring is going to be forged. You're going to see a Balrog. So things that are familiar are really starting to roll now. You know, we know that the wizard is Gandalf. And I know you Tolkien purists are out there rolling your eyes going, Gandalf's not supposed to be in the Second Age, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. One fun fact is that the actor Simon Pegg, who was in Star Trek and a bunch of stuff, he is voicing the Balrog. So that's pretty cool. We'll look forward to hearing his performance. Speaking of sequels, reboots, rehashes, Futurama is coming back with season 14. That's a lot of seasons. I feel like cartoons and animated things can get away with that because, well, the cartoon characters just don't age. Star Trek celebrated 60 years of its universe this year. That's crazy. That means if you were 10 years old when the original Star Trek came out, you're now 70 years old. Katie and I watched the season premiere for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4. We were a little disappointed by it just because we really enjoyed the last seasons, and this season premiere felt like it just lacked a little zing. I believe Star Trek has a movie in development, so that'll be interesting. And I don't know where in the timeline the movie's happening, but apparently what they've said is it's going to have fresh actors. It's not going to be directly connected to any of the other franchises. So that's cool. And that is one thing that I think Star Trek has going for it is the Federation is big and the universe is big. And so it's really easy for them to go, let's just pick a new crew on a new mission, new personalities, new aliens. It's very easy to make fresh while retaining the Star Trek DNA. And another thing Star Trek has going for it is they've just established that different episodes have different tones. And so Trekkies actually love that about Star Trek. You've got the Halloween episode, you've got the goofy episode, and then you've got some, drama episodes, relationship-based episodes, episodes focused on different characters. So you just explore, different members of the crew. And that's all good. We love all that. And that keeps Star Trek forever fresh. Star Trek, it's like an evergreen tree. For fans of super gritty steampunk sci-fi, Apple announced that it's making a live-action version of Neuromancer. So that's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of stuff that's super gritty. I'm just a baby like that. But it's interesting to me because the book Neuromancer kicked off the steampunk genre. That's a widely recognized thing. So if that's your jam, Neuromancer is coming out in 2027, early 2027, actually. January looks like. One franchise that was a little quiet at San Diego Comic-Con was Star Wars. They talked about Star Wars Zero Company, which is a video game coming out. They talked about new books leading up to the big anniversary of A New Hope. Of course, they've got Star Wars Starfighter coming up. Well, that was super fun checking out all the news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con 2026. May I make a quick observation, however? When I attend these events and when I read about them online, it becomes apparent to me that this kind of stuff has a big, big place in some people's life. And I am a nerd. I do think about this stuff. I talk about this stuff. So it has a place in my life as well. However, if it has too big of a place in our life, in our heart, in our identity, it is going to leave us empty. And there's a scripture I want to bring out that talks about how we can be fulfilled. Jesus said this, "Most assuredly I say to you, Moses did not give you the bread from heaven, but my Father gives the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." Then they said to him, "Lord, give us this bread always." And Jesus said to them, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never hunger, and he who believes in me will never thirst." There is a spiritual nourishing that happens when we spend time with God, with Jesus Christ. And there is no other way to get that nourishment for our spirit. He is the bread. He is the one who satisfies us deep down inside. It is so easy to try to fill our hearts, fill our minds with pop culture and with culture in general, but I promise you, it will leave you wanting. It will leave you empty. And you might say, "But Matt, I've got real issues in my life, and I don't know if that's really going to solve anything." Well, it's a good starting place. Get some God fuel in your tank, and then tackle the issues of life from there. All right, well, thanks so much for listening to today's episode. It was fun to record. Hopefully you had fun listening to it. You can check out all our episodes at nerdyfolks.com. If you want to support the show, check out the show notes. There are some ways to give. You can join the community on Patreon. You can give directly. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, until next time, love you, take care, God bless, and bye-bye.